Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal. Happy Friday, and we've got a Love is Blind finale recap. Who said yes? Who said no? Who said, we'll have to see how it goes? And we're going to cover this right now. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I post my stand-up show updates where you can find me, things like that. And also, I've got the Patreon. It's rip-roaring, patreon.com/Dave Neal. We're going to be live behind the scenes this morning talking Love is Blind. And we're going to get to it right now. The Love is Blind Season 4 do's and don'ts. But before I get to this, I do want to pitch, for those of you that just found me through Love is Blind content, I make Bachelor news. I do daily pop culture and entertainment news. But this past fall, I got married. And I've got on my Patreon, which is a private membership community, the wedding videos. Not just the wedding videos, my reaction to the wedding videos. So you can watch a grown man cry if that's what you want to do. Because not that there's anything wrong with Love is Blind, but it's like, look, they get these weddings paid for. You don't know what true love is till you got to finance the wedding yourself. You know what I mean, guys? So anyway, if you want to check out my... Whoa, geez, easy there. It's an adult, adult content here. But you can go check out this beautiful actual wedding that was done, with actual humans and not this fabricated nonsense on Love is Blind. But either way, that's where that is. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. Love is Blind Season 4, the I do's and I don'ts. Not to say that they're not in love, but it's like, give it a year. You know what I mean? You're not in love until you fight over which side of the families you want to go to for Christmas. All right, so these are going to be spoilers, obviously. Look, I'll tell you this. Here's what annoys me about the way Netflix dropped these episodes. First of all, I got the spoilers on Instagram before I got to watch it live. You know what I mean? They should have done a live, 7 p.m. Friday night viewing of the wedding, ceremonies and all that. Because who's watching this Friday morning? We have jobs, right, folks? All right. Spoilers. Who boy, did episode 11 end on a cliffhanger or what? The last we checked in with our Seattle couples, Chelsea had just said, I do. So yeah, we were left with Kwame's response. What's he going to say? My guess was, I don't think so, but of course I was wrong. These two had a cliffhanger for their wedding answers that led into the finale, as fans were left wondering if Kwame would say, I do to Chelsea, even without his mom's approval. Thankfully, the answer was yes. He said yes. And it had sort of been hinted at, including the way Kwame's sister welcomed Chelsea into the family before the ceremony. I wasn't sure. I was not sure, but they had predicted they both would say yes, and they did. Now, Paul and Micah. Jeez, I'm trying, guys. Between this show, Vanderpump Rules, and the whole Bachelor Nation world, I'm forgetting my own name. You know what I mean? I'm in the bedroom calling my wife, Micah, whatever. You know what I mean? Okay, she knows that's not true. That's one quick way to sleep on the couch. When the wedding day finally arrived and Paul decided to wear hiking socks, it was clear both parties were having serious doubt. Micah said that the decision hasn't been easy or obvious at all to her. Paul was also having serious second thoughts and was going to nearly everyone around him to ask for advice. I was sure Paul was going to say yes. Well, here's where it went down. Paul told the camera that he could never imagine marrying her in the future, and his decision to say no was because he couldn't picture Micah as a nurturing mother. Yikes. So here's what he said. I love you, but I don't think we can choose each other right now. I think that we're not there. Hey, fair. Micah, clearly hurt, responded that she never felt safe with him. You shouldn't. You're on a dating reality show. You shouldn't feel safe at all. You both chose to be there. Not that I don't feel bad for them, but it's like, them's the rubs. There's so much more to being a partner, and a woman for that matter, than being a nurturing mother to children. But of course, that is an aspect. If you are serious about getting married, you should talk about family planning and all that. But of course, what does Paul know? He's known her for only 3 weeks. How does he know if she'd be a good mom or not? So very interesting stuff. So people had predicted that they would say no, and of course, that's what happened. So of course, what can you do? Now, speaking of healthy couples that actually worked out, Brett and Tiffany. But by the way, let me know about Micah. Let me know, did Paul do the right thing? Could he have communicated it better? It's like, talk about, now not to stick to this point too long, but let's read what they had to say. I'm in no way saying I think Micah and Paul should have ended up together. In fact, I was convinced they wouldn't make it past the altar this entire season. But the whiplash I got from Paul's comments about Micah made me question everything he said about her in previous episodes. At first, he said she was everything he's ever wanted in a person. Then he said he could never marry her and didn't picture her as a mother. I really don't see how he jumped to that conclusion that quickly. Yeah, and what's going to be interesting is you've got Micah's friend, and you hate to say it, but, cynicism pays off in reality TV because in most cases it doesn't work out. So if you're Micah's friend, you just sit there in the back with your nails being done saying, told you so, and you're like, I had to spend $300 to get this hair done for this wedding. I'm going to be bringing you the receipts. You know what I mean? But of course, what can you do? You got to play the game. You got to make it to the altar. And Brett and Tiffany did just that. After weeks of anticipation, it was finally time for Brett and Tiffany to finally say I do to each other. To preserve the sanctity of love as we know it, we needed them to confirm it with I do's. Their portion of the episode began with Tiffany nearly coming to tears as she thinks about the time she spent with Brett. We then moved to Brett's room and he caught up with his brother and friends before getting ready. Brett also meets Tiffany's father, who gives him his blessing just in time for the wedding day. Things seem to be smooth sailing until Brett puts on his suit and realizes that his pants were tailored incorrectly. Oh boy, this is not a good idea. Oh, the last thing you need is moose knuckles on your wedding day. Brett is visibly annoyed and admits that he can get a bit ticked off if his look is not up to par with what he expected. So with 90 minutes left until the wedding, Brett heads back to the tailor to have his pants repaired. This is the drama I live for. Love is blind, but the tailor doesn't need to be. Get it right. You know what I mean? Get those quads hugged nicely. This is why you need nice stretchy. Why isn't aloe or what's the Lululemon? Why don't they make wedding suits? Just give me some of that latex material. You know what I mean? Or what are yoga pants made out of? Spandex. Give me a spandex wedding suit and call it a day. That way, when you've had a couple too many wedding cakes, you'll be okay. This is all while Tiffany happily gets ready for her friends and family while seemingly having no idea what's going on in Brett's world. Thankfully, Brett is able to get his pants fixed, which is 30 minutes left until the wedding. It's so funny. My wedding day, my wife, we were stayed in a resort in Mexico, and she was like adamant that we don't see each other on the wedding day. But I was like, I'm not gonna go sleep on my brother's couch in the other room. You know what I mean? I was like, we're gonna sleep together the night before, get a good night's sleep. But in the morning, she put blindfolds on me and made me like walk out. And she had a team. They had a team of hair and makeup people. The whole thing. I had my buddy Andy. Shout out Andy. See you in a couple of weeks. Who kept me company. A couple beers, some good country music while I take my shower, get ready. I probably use some of Andy's cologne. Hope you don't mind. And we're over there hanging out, eating cold burgers, doing our thing. The women are like, they're all crying on their end. I find out afterwards. They're like, did you cry? I'm like, did I cry? No, I caught up with my fraternity brother I haven't seen in a decade. But of course, the tears came later on. Either way, that's neither here nor there. That's just my story. It's always funny to see what one side's doing versus the other. But in this case, Brett's the one trying to get those pants to fit. There they are. So they concluded their portion of the episode with a whole lot of smiles and even more dancing. Here's where it goes down. When she finally does, Brett is brought to tears when Tiffany says I do, which is really all we needed to see to know that he would say I do. They both share beautiful messages about one another, with Tiffany praising him for his soul and his character, while Brett said he believes he found his life partner with Tiffany. At long last, it was time for them to say I do, and in what was the sweetest moment of the episode, Brett and Tiffany both said I do, and became the second married couple of Love is Blind Season 4. All right, so there they are. Good for them. Zach and Bliss. All right, here's the wild card. Nobody knew. Everyone said Zach has that long, beard that he grew, so clearly they wouldn't have worked out. That's a single man's beard, the old Ted Kaczynski special. We'll have to see. Let's go. Where does the I do? So seeing Zach describe Bliss to his friends and his grandma and sister was very sweet. There was a touching moment with his grandma and sister when they talked about his late mother and how much he wished she could be there. When it finally came time to say their vows, Zach essentially said he didn't realize how much he loved her until they broke up. If it were me, I wouldn't really take that as a compliment, but Bliss did, so more power to them. They both said, I do. And Zach grabbed Bliss for a romantic kiss. They seemed very smitten at the end of the episode and couldn't stop smiling at each other. They did end up playing I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack as their first dance song, a full circle from the first episode of the season. I hope you dance. That's a number one karaoke song where you mess up when you think you can hit that note, but you can't. All right, so there it is. There it is. What does everyone think? Now, on the reunion, we're going to find out, are they still together? It's one thing to say yes in this little bubble, but once the dopamine wears off, where will they be? We will find that out and more on Sunday. I'm going to have more content for you, including Instagram statements, comments, because obviously it's one thing to get dumped at the altar. It's another to, deal with everyone's reactions. We know Chelsea already released a statement saying be kind. And everyone goes, why is everyone upset at Chelsea? And my only thing to tell you, naive power listener here, is that the audience can be crazy. Now, you might not be crazy. I might not be crazy, but there is a certified percentage of people out there psychologically that are insane, and they leave people private messages. I hope you die, the craziest stuff. They exist. You know why? Because I get them in my comments, and they really should be all sent to an island somewhere where they can just comment on each other's things without the internet. You know what I mean? They should all be on an island with internet, and they think it's sending to somewhere, and it just like the end of the cord is just cut off. That's where those types of people need to be. But either way, it still hurts. Trust me, it still sucks to get negative comments in your pocket. And we just ask you guys, if you do have to, I don't know, if you do have to say something negative, just grab your pillow, throw it on your face, and just yell it to yourself, okay? That's all you need to do. Keep it kind out there. That's the world we live in. Kindness, right, folks? It's a Friday. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I will have more content, so make sure to hit the subscribe button. And don't forget, if you want additional content, go over to the Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal, and I will also have an afternoon podcast, bachelorrushhour.com. Apparently, YouTube has a new tip feature, so for the people that want to, you can hit the tip button. Just the tip. That's all we need, folks. And I'll be back with more content right after this.